João Acácio was born into a poor family in Joinville, Santa Catarina, as the fourth of 5 children. His father, a sawmill worker, drowned in a river when João was only 8 years old. This tragic event marked a turning point for the already impoverished family. João's mother, Acácio Pereira, took on the responsibility of raising her children alone, working as a washerwoman to support them. Despite Maria's efforts, family life was marked by extreme poverty and tension. Maria was often described as unremarkable and sometimes harmful. João grew up in a household characterized by domestic violence, where physical punishment was common. The early loss of his father deprived him of a paternal figure, who might have provided guidance and stability. From a young age, João exhibited problematic behavior, including petty theft and frequent fights with classmates. He dropped out of school early and began spending time on the streets, where he was exposed to negative influences. At the age of 14, he ran away from home for the first time, marking the beginning of his involvement in petty crimes. As a teenager, João moved to São Paulo in search of better opportunities, but encountered even greater challenges. Lacking family support or resources, he lived in tenements and cheap boarding houses, occasionally working as a loader or construction assistant. However, legitimate work did not provide enough to sustain him, leading him back to a life of crime. It was in São Paulo that João began to develop the audacity that would make him infamous. Inspired by tales of foreign criminals, such as the red light bandit from the United States, he adopted the use of a red flashlight as his signature tool. This choice was not only practical for nighttime robberies, but also psychological, as the red light heightened the victim's fear and confusion. João Acácio was both methodical and daring. He meticulously studied his targets, observing residents' schedules and employees' routines. He primarily operated in affluent neighborhoods such as Morumbi, Jardins, and Ibirapuera, committing his crimes during the early hours of the morning. After years of successful robberies, João eventually made mistakes that led to his capture. In 1967, during a failed robbery attempt, witnesses identified him. Under intense public pressure to apprehend him, the police escalated their efforts. A breakthrough came when his network of contacts was uncovered, with minor associates providing information that led authorities to him. João Acácio was arrested in São Paulo in October 1967 after a police operation involving chases and armed confrontations. Although he initially resisted, he ultimately surrendered. His trial became one of the most notorious of the era, with the media portraying him as the ultimate villain. He was charged with numerous crimes, including 77 robberies, the 4 confirmed murders, and multiple rapes, although many were not formally proven. João showed no remorse during interrogations and court proceedings, often making arrogant statements that reinforced his image as a cold-blooded criminal. He was sentenced to over 351 years in prison, but served only 30 years, the maximum allowed under Brazilian law at the time. In prison, João Acácio continued to attract attention for his erratic behavior. He was described as unpredictable, alternating between periods of calm and violent outbursts. He frequently clashed with other inmates and caused problems for prison staff. Additionally, he exhibited signs of psychological instability, claiming to hear voices and experiencing hallucinations. Despite these symptoms, he was not deemed legally incapacitated. João was released in 1997 after completing his sentence, but struggled to reintegrate into society. With no family support or financial means, he faced rejection from the community in Joinville, where he attempted to settle. Homeless and without resources, João wandered through rural areas, continuing to exhibit erratic behavior and getting into minor disputes. On January 5, 1998, less than a year after his release, João Acácio was killed during an altercation on a farm. He was shot in the head with a shotgun, bringing an end to his troubled and infamous life.